Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go over some of the stocks we talked about last week to show you how they've been performing and to look at maybe future upside that we might see from the same stocks. Let's get right into it. We're going to switch over to TradingView. Right here, we got first is New Era Energy. Now we talked about this back on Thursday, October the 2nd, and since then it has gone up quite a bit. There was some correction, and then it went back up about 50%. Now, do I think it's going to stay up here? Likely not. Now, our original target was 350. And I think that this is going to make a slight correction, and then we're going to see it bounce back up to 350. The next one is Data Vault AI. Now, this one had some integrations with IBM, and they're the ones that are making your data into money. And so they can tie AI to any data set and make it worth some money for you. So here we talked about it back on October 2nd, and even back then, it did already have a bit of a run-up since, let's say, Friday, September 19th. So it went up about 231%. Now, we probably recorded this video back on somewhere down here, but we released a video on October 2nd, and it has gone up 78%. Now, if you want to count to the tip, but it did go up to about 77, and then now it's doing its profit taken is going down here. Let me use the right marker. And I think it's going to come back down to around $2, and then it's going to do one of these again. Because we always know that people who bought here are going to take profits either here or they're going to wait for an upside over here. And people who bought down here have already taken profits here. So we need to make sure that you move with the momentum. If there's a lot of people buying, and we see a lot of the volume was back here. So those people are taking profits. And the new people are getting in, and those people are going to want to take profits. So that keeps moving in the right direction. The next one is Bitfarms. Similar, we released the video on October 2nd, but we really were taped it right around September 30th. So there wasn't much of a difference. Now this one has gone up but 42% since then. And we did see a leg up prior to that that was pretty massive. And if we look at this change, 150-ish percent, let's call it 150 here. And we then saw a correction, and then we saw another leg up. So if you got it down here, you'll likely be up around 57 or maybe even more, 64%. But if you got it when we released the video, that would have been October 2nd, and you have been up 42%. Again, every time this goes up, people who bought here are taking profits in here. So I wouldn't chase this run. I'd wait for a pullback down to around 340, 320. We might see some support around the 280 to 260. So if it does a big correction, then we're going to see a much higher upside on this one. Next, we have Meridium Healthcare, and this one had a bit of a wild run. So originally, from Thursday, it went up an insane amount, and that's about 200% there. Now, we talked about it around October 2nd, right around here. So it hasn't gone up that much, just about 20%, and then it did another correction. But if we zoom out, we see the same pattern right here, and right here. So what does that tell you? That at some point, we're going to see a squiggly, and then we're going to see a massive upside, and then we're going to see another correction. So this is likely a good entry point anywhere around the 2 to 210, and we're looking for about a $5 target, maybe around 150% upside on this one. The last one we're going to talk about is Nightscope. This is the AI drone security company. And you know, it has gone up a little bit. If we zoom in a little bit and we look for, you know, around October 2nd, it did go up about 20%. But the real story is in the zoom out. And we did see sideways consolidation here. We do sideways consolidation here. And then there's this big, massive upside. So ideally, this does a little bit of a swiggle and then goes past its previous high to around $11. So from its current levels, that's about a 50% upside. Now, they did have a very strong showing on their revenue, but they earnings per share, I mean, and then they missed the revenue slightly, but that's okay because they have a lot of sales in the books, so they need to deliver those. A bonus one that we've been following slightly, we did look at this yesterday, and we didn't release anything about it yet, but there was a massive jump of about 86%. Obviously, didn't come up on the radar until yesterday, so we couldn't have talked about it yet. Anyway, a couple of things we're going to cover. Obviously, gold had its massive run up, and we talked about gold before. We see that there was that massive consolidation for some time during the April to, let's call it early September, late August. And then we saw this massive run up of about 20% for gold. Now, in the video that we did release today, and that's October 9th, we talk about the DXY. And let's switch gears really quick to the DXY, because in that video, we were talking about the 99-cent line, 99% line. And this is the head and shoulders, and we're seeing the breakthrough, the 99 level. And this corresponded to gold making a correction. Now, what people are doing is they're taking some profits right around here. So we saw about a 2% correction on gold. And since aftermarket time, it's gone back up about 0.4%. So overall, we've seen about a 1.5% correction. This correlates with the change that we saw from yesterday with the dollar, and it's about 0.6%. Every time the dollar goes up, gold will make a correction because people will take profits. So silver did similar thing, but it didn't correct as bad. You know, it wicked up first thing in the morning, about 5%, and then it made a correction back down about 3%. So still all-time high for silver. I definitely encourage people to own silver and gold. The silver-gold ratio is an important chart to respect because, in my opinion, and according to historical records, silver is way undervalued right now. So we got to keep in mind that when silver is undervalued, that means that it has a much larger leg to run up. And that's why we've seen such a massive run for silver. If we look from, the consolidation time, it did about a 35%, call it 30%, while gold did only about 20%. And this is just the beginning. If you zoom out on the silver chart, and we'd go to the, let's go to the year-to-date chart, we're going to see that it's done a 71%. And if we look at the year-to-date chart here, oops, that's the wrong marker. We see that gold did about a, let's call it a 40% run. Let's call that a 40 to 45% run. So silver is always going to move higher than gold, just because the silver to gold ratio is actually way off right now. I think it's in around the 80 to 85 mark. So there you have it. In the next week and the week after that, we're going to talk about other stocks that we're going to continue to follow up on. So until then, stay safe, stay diversified, and I'll catch you in the next video.